Mikel Arteta has officially become the 10th longest-serving manager in Premier League history. He's been at Arsenal for 5 years and 9 months, which has seen him overtake Sean Dyche's stint at Burnley. And in another 2 months, he will be the 8th longest-serving manager. But in that time, he has won just the FA Cup with someone else's squad, which was over 5 years ago. Firstly, what do you make of that? What does that tell you about managers and their life expectancy now in the Premier League?
I mean, I think it's quite a poor indictment that he is, what do you say, 10th on the list.
Yeah.
And he's only been there 5.5 years. I mean, it's just the days of what we used to see back in the day, obviously the Brian Cloughs, how long he was there. Fergie Wenger, these guys, you know, there for long. Even Moyes at Everton was there for a long time.
David Moyes is on the list, he's third, 11 years.
So I just think it's just a thing of the past now. Everyone wants new head coaches, new ideas, fresh ideas. I mean, if Pep decides to stay in this country for the foreseeable, then he could get up there to 15, 20 years, I believe. But no,
you think 15 or 20 years, Pep?
It depends how long he wants to stay. I'm guessing the way he's gone about his business, unless they completely fall off a cliff and they're always in the mix in terms of where they are now, they're not going to get rid of him, are they?
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's almost earned the right to kind of stay there. So, but no, yes, it was a tough start for him, Arteta, when he first got the job. I mean, I remember.
Remind me where Arsenal were at the time.
So when he took over, 8th.
I'm just going to have a sniff of my Vicks inhaler.
Right, so he was 8th. So the first couple of seasons, right, although he achieved great success early on when he won the FA Cup and the way he set the team up, really well played. They finished 8th. Then the following season, it was 8th. Then it was 5th, and that was the season where they were battling with Spurs, and they went to Spurs and it almost fell apart when Holding got himself sent off after quite early, and it went downhill from there. Then it's been second. There is an FA Cup in there, as I said. He's had some big decisions to make as well. Of course, Emilio Martinez, he left at this point because he won the FA Cup. People forget that. He was the goalkeeper, and he was when I was thinking, well, when Leno gets fit, Martinez is better than him. But he opted to bring Leno back, send Martinez to Aston Villa, who's been a brilliant servant since then. Then he replaced Leno with Ramsdale. Then he's replaced Ramsdale with David Raya. So that was one decision. He got out Guendouzi, whose attitude was stinking. Like, obviously was a real problem, apparently, from what I've heard. I'm not obviously making these rumours up, but this is what I've heard, that his attitude was poor, Guendouzi. So he obviously had to go. Then Aubameyang was the big one. He was the big one because he'd been Arsenal's top goal scorer. And I remember was it All or Nothing Arsenal, where Arteta says, listen, for the sake of the club, this needs to happen. And I can't remember who the two guys were at the time, quite high up at Arsenal. They were saying they don't think it's the right decision. They were like, remember when he left and they were like, no, I'm not sure this is right. But they did that for him. He had to get rid of Ozil. Another top player, big personality. So he's had to make big decisions. And I think now he's finally, and yes, it's taken a while, but he's got Arsenal to a place now where there was almost no excuses. Because I think there was a point where the squad was set, but 1 or 2 injuries, we didn't have the depth. Then it was, there's no centre forward. All those issues are now addressed. Because we're now hearing that Odegaard's out for a little bit of time. He's got an MCL injury. And I'm not panicking. There was a time I would have panicked, but now I'm not. Because I'm thinking, well, you've got Eze who can step in there. Wanyeri, the emergence of Wanyeri. I know Madueke is out, but he
could come back in.
Do you know who you forget about? Even Gabriel Jesus. Like, he's not the answer.
Where is he? What's happening?
He's been injured, but he's just another body. So talk about depth.
Yeah.
So I like where Arsenal are now. Yes, of course, you're going to get some fans, maybe not as many Arsenal fans, but some saying I would have liked to have won something a biggie in terms of Champions League or Premier League, because they've got to a quarter-final, which they lost to Bayern Munich. The second leg didn't really show up. And then they gave it everything against PSG, but PSG were just too good last year in the semi-final. So I think he's done well. I think he's done a really good job from where Arsenal are. But now it's time to deliver.
Yeah. The question I'm going to ask you, Benny, and all our listeners out there, especially Arsenal fans, has he achieved enough in those 5 years and 9 months? And it's an interesting question, because if we get to just over 6 years and he's won either the Premier League or the Champions League, or both, obviously, the answer is without a doubt.
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then he hasn't.
It's a tough one.
It's a fine line we're treading.
Because you know why? This sounds bonkers, right? Because, yes, I would love him to have won something huge, right? But just say, for instance, Arsenal don't win the league this year and they lose on goal difference on the last game of the season and they get to like 95 points, right? And yes, I know he's not won its failure because he's not done it. And they lose on penalty shootout in the Champions League final. Oh my God, funny. That would be a great week. Right. Have a party in the shootout. No, but that there would be like, how do you sack a manager that... You can't. Do you know what I mean? But there will be some people out there that will go, well, it's failed again. He can't get over the line.
What's interesting? I mean, it's a stick I beat you with a lot, is the Arteta stick, right? And that's only because it's you and your team's Arsenal, right? If you supported Villa, it'd be exactly the same.
Yeah.
But all jokes aside, just for a moment, and it pains me to say it, if you win the Premier League, would you say that from taking over an Arsenal side that was, bottom half of the top 10 to becoming Premier League champions in 5 years or 6 years, that's an unbelievable turnaround, isn't it?
It is as well. Remember, Arsenal spent a lot of years in those times not in the Champions League. We had Peter Note just before him as well, playing Europa League for a number of years. But if he was to turn it around and get Arsenal competing, which he's done the last 3 years, and they now at the end of it were to win the Premier League or the Champions League, you have to give him. You have to applaud him.
Well, the question I'm asking is has Arteta achieved enough in his 5 years and 9 months? I will say, my answer is all dependent on what happens this season.
There'll be some rival fans that will say no, he hasn't, because he hasn't won anything.
Yeah, but if this season he does, he's won all that in 6 years. I think that's an unbelievable turnaround.
Individual level, there's no doubt that Haaland would have scored more goals.
Let's say
he broke the Premier League record.
I think we could all argue it, guys, but I just think the best manager we've seen over the last decade has to be Pep Guardiola. If we offered him the choice of these three,
he wanted Kane, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. That's the point, right? That's the point. So if Pep wanted Kane before he got Haaland, that surely showed the quality Kane has. Kane can do everything that Haaland can't just do as well. I mean, he can just score not only just goals, but create opportunities for his teammates. He can do a lot for the team. I think.
What was going to be the end of it?
The end was Mbappe would be his last choice.
Right.
He's all about the team. I think Erland's about the team. Harry Kane 100% is about the team. I think Mbappe is a magnificent player, but a little bit more selfish.
Mikel Arteta has been Arsenal's manager since December 2019, and over that time he's become the longest-serving coach currently in charge at the club. Since taking over, he's overseen over 250 matches in all competitions and has built a reputation not just for longevity, but for steady progress and clear identity. In terms of silverware, Arteta has already won some important trophies with Arsenal. His first season saw him lift the FA Cup in 2020, followed by the Community Shield the same year. He also added another Community Shield in 2023. These wins were important signal moments. They showed he could deliver in knockout games, shepherd a team under pressure, and restore trophy-winning belief at the club. Beyond trophies, some statistics really underline how effective Arteta has been. For example, by his first 250 games, he'd already achieved more wins than many other Arsenal managers had in the same span. His win percent is strong, and he's picked up wins over big rivals. He holds the record for most Premier League wins in a single season for Arsenal, 28, and scored the most goals, 91, in that season. Also, he's earned individual recognition, for instance, being awarded Best Premier League Coach at the Globe Soccer Awards in 2024. What's also notable is the change in Arsenal's style and consistency. He's transformed how Arsenal play, high pressing, disciplined structure, strong defensive improvements, and bringing in young talent alongside more established players. Before his arrival, Arsenal were missing Champions League participation. Now they're regularly competing at the top end of the Premier League and in Europe. Arteta's journey so far has been really impressive. He's not yet won the Premier League, which is a clear goal still out there, but he's got a club back in the conversation among the best in England and Europe. What stands out is how he's rebuilt confidence, culture and identity. When he arrived, Arsenal were adrift. Now they are feared, competitive, and consistent. If he adds the Premier League title, or another major trophy, to his tally soon, what he's done so far will be seen as transformative. Even without it yet, his record shows someone who understands building long-term, who can balance ambition with patience. For Arsenal fans, he might already be one of the best in modern history, and there's a sense there's still more to come.